a Christian response to the Pence Rule, or a thesaurus response to the Christian response to the Pence Rule. Hello, wonderful peoples. I apologize for my absence. I've been sick, and I also moonlight in retail, and the holidays are always significantly more busy. Including my drive time to my main job, I've been working in excess of 70 hours a week the past couple weeks, and I just have not had the time. I've also had bronchitis. I've had a series of different infections and stuff. Had to go to the urgent care a couple times, but I am okay. Furthermore, I experimented with a new phone that didn't have a head jack, and I couldn't get a voice recorder even with the adapter to work correctly. I realize that I have spent a lot of time on politics, and I really feel that some of y'all who come from my more Christian things have been kind of missing out. So, two major things that kind of merge politics a little bit have come up recently. The first I'm still working on. It is it's a project regarding liberal Christianity as demonstrated by the Boston Declaration and how it's problematic to authentic Christianity, so be prepared for that. Today, however, I wanted to take a moment to look at the New York Times and their opinion piece they put out a couple weeks ago. It is written by this lady, Miss Caitlin Beatty. Sorry, I was pulling it up. She's the editor at large for the Christianity Today. I don't know if I want to put what I actually originally wrote. Anyway, the piece that I'll be looking at is a Christian case for the Pence Rule. I'll include a link below if you want to read the full piece. And after an initial response, I'll talk to you guys about what I personally do and how following an iteration of the Pence Rule helped me out when I was a wee lad. So you'll notice that Miss Caitlin Beatty is I guess that's how you say her name, is pretty young, and she describes herself as, quote, the youngest and first female managing editor, end quote, of Christianity Today. And you will see why the formerly prestigious magazine has gone into a nosedive. Her website can also be found below if you'd like to see some of her other work. You know, I don't want to, I'm definitely not going for the whole doxing, people following. I don't have enough followers for y'all to even make a big bump in anything. But also, I want you guys to be able to go and check out anything I talk about yourself so you can go and make your own opinions, right? So, to the article entitled A Christian Case Against the Pence Rule. The first part of her article is tentatively fine. She discusses what would have been a better subject of the article, in my opinion, which was the Christian response to the Weinstein allegations. A lot of the Christians, evangelical Christians, whatever, were generally pretty enthused about all the stuff that was going on in Hollywood because it shows them to be the frauds and the hypocrites that they really are. And while blaming and throwing down on like Christians for like, oh, y'all are a bunch of hypocrites, da da da. Yeah, well, at least we're not like sexually assaulting everyone, apparently. And I think she could have talked about that, and it would have been actually a lot more interesting, in my opinion. Let's see. She then goes on to describe the Pence Rule, which she states as, quote, not to eat, travel, or meet alone with any woman who isn't his wife. And then describes how it worked for Billy Graham as well as other Christians. She then makes a statement about the Pence Rule wouldn't have stopped the Weinstein behavior and that it hurts women, as evidenced by a situation where she was to meet a man only to find another guy there for the meeting. And she goes kind of off the reservation. So here's a screenshot from the thing. She says, immediately I knew what was going on. Both men were warm and complimentary. We share the same faith, read the same Bible. But a decade into my career, I've rarely had a more alienating meeting. What? What happened? I was made acutely aware that my existence as a woman was a problem that needed to be managed in a public setting. I did not join the board. Here's the problem with that. How was she made aware? She doesn't give any evidence of it, and I seriously doubt they were like, well, you are a woman, and that is a problem that needed to be managed in a public setting. If we look at what happened with the Weinstein, if we look at what happened with a bunch of the other people, It was a, hey, why don't you come over to my office and we can talk? And I don't think that would be any more appropriate, or that would have made her feel any more confident. I just seriously doubt that there was that big of an issue, and I think it was probably her projecting on it. Since she had such an emotional reaction, I'm kind of glad that this unnamed organization didn't put her on the board. The problem, as we'll see, can really only be attributed to a modern Western feminist ideology that has infiltrated her Christianity, where she has zero charity for the opinions and beliefs of men, assuming the worst of them. She continues, though. The Pence Rule can manifest in ways that are strangely unchristian. A former colleague at a Christian nonprofit threw her back out while on a business trip. Lying in pain in her hotel room, she asked her coworker to carry her suitcase from her room. He refused to enter the room. One wonders what he thought was going to happen. In this and other cases, personal purity seems to take precedence over the command to love your neighbor. One only wonders. Well, she'll make it clear what she thinks will happen, but I will join in her criticism of the situation in one respect. Provided that the door to the hotel room remained open, there, in most cases, shouldn't be an issue with the situation. It's like, hey, get my bags, let me go in here and get it. The door is staying open, and then we're done. From what I was taught in seminary, provided there's an openness and an accountability in that area, then there's typically safeness. Now, in direct opposition to Miss Beatty's summation of the conversation, however, a truer rationale for the importance of the Pence Rule, really all that needed to happen, even with the door open, was someone to walk by, see him in the room, be ignorant of the situation, and start talking for issues to arise. Miss Beatty then continues in the article to point out about how the Pence Rule and non-Christians adopt points of it, pointing out correctly that we can't get so bogged down in the letter of the law that we ignore the spirit of the law. It then comes to the issue I alluded to earlier in the video. She attributes the Weinstein affair being able to continue on a lack of female representation in the power in Hollywood. What? That's completely incorrect. But then she goes on to say this. The Pence Rule arises from a broken view of the sexes. Men are lustful beasts that must be contained, while women are objects of desire that must be hidden away. Offering the Pence Rule as a solution to make male predation is like saying, I can't meet with you one-on-one, otherwise I might eventually assault you. If that's the case, we have a far deeper problems around men and power than any personal conduct rule can solve. I don't really know how to respond to this, except to say that, giving a little bit of background, I grew up in church and I've been volunteering since I was a teenager. I've gone through training courses, I've been to seminary, I've been to numerous counseling classes, both Christian and non-Christian. I've also been to counseling with both male and female counselors, and never once was it said or assumed that her mindset was anywhere close to the reason that we have things like the Pence Rule, or that it doesn't make sense. She then closes by saying the Pence Rule is followed mainly by men, and how this affects women in the workplace. By not going to one-on-one meetings or to meals, there could be missed opportunities for discussions, etc. However, Miss Beatty's observation betrays an unchecked privilege that she has. Women don't have to follow a Pence-type rule, therefore they don't. Personally, I would give up whatever potential benefit I may get by going out to lunch with my boss, assuming it was a male, in order to enjoy the privilege of not having to worry about the need for a Pence Rule. It's not beneficial for me to have the Pence Rule, and I prefer to be in a situation that we didn't. I was talking to the Theosaurus dad. That's my nickname for my dad on here. Well, I'll just say it. And he was lamenting about the fact that we have to have something like the Pence Rule, and we can't just talk to and minister to people without having to worry about this kind of stuff. Overall, I believe this article was written out of an ignorance of other opinions, from a biased view, the one that's broken, that's of the sexes, that men are predatory and stuff like that, and women aren't, and that women are victimized and oppressed. Anyway, we've spent a lot of time on her views, so let me share with you, dear gentle viewer, a more balanced view. Here's what I was taught throughout my life, and I'll give you a couple examples. the men that I've been around and teenagers and stuff like that, we were taught to adopt a sort of Pence type rule for 3 reasons, and in no particular order. They are: A, avoiding the appearance of evil, which she actually mentions in the beginning of her article. One should try to avoid any type of situation where if someone were to casually walk by or not know the situation, they wouldn't be able to easily assume the worst. In the example that Miss Beatty gave about the guy not wanting to enter the room of the coworker in distress, all that needed to happen was for someone to walk by, see him exiting the room and closing the door, knowing that it was another woman's room, or seeing another woman go in there, or whatever, seeing a woman go in there, come out of there a little bit afterwards, whatever. For assumptions to be made, for rumors to start, and gossip to spread. B, it eliminates the opportunity for temptation for both parties, whether or not it's both individuals growing to like one another and an affair happening, or one party liking the other. Both situations can be easily avoided by adherence to a Pence-style rule. C, one would follow a Pence-style rule to build a base of credibility and protect against false accusations, gossips, and rumors. I have 2 anecdotes for this one. The first is one that one of my professors shared, and then the second is one from personal experience. My professor was a pastor at a specific church. He met up with a woman who needed some prayer. He had a window to his office, and his secretary was there, able to look in at any time. He was sitting across from the woman, and they were praying when he with his head bowed. When he ended his prayer, he told us he looked up, and her shirt was off. He recounted standing up immediately and running to the door, telling her it wasn't appropriate. Shortly after he walked in with his secretary, they came back into the room, and it turns out the cleaning lady had come in right after she had put her shirt on. Just imagine what would have happened if he hadn't run out of the office. Even if he wasn't participating, but was saying, hey, put your shirt back on. This isn't appropriate. This isn't fine. Well, then the cleaning lady could have come in there and seen. And what would she have seen? She would have seen him standing there and her with her shirt off. Even if she was putting it back, let's say she has a button up or whatever, if she was buttoning back together, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what she probably would have thought. Lastly, let me tell you a story from my life. I'll give you a couple of my personal rules. I'm not married, and I feel that I have a little more freedom to meet with unmarried people in public areas and even to give basic counsel. I've also gone to business meetings and out to lunch with female colleagues. Typically not one-on-one, and we don't share the same vehicle if we're of the opposite sex. I don't believe in general that men should counsel women or vice versa. I am, however, okay with a male or female counseling a married couple or a family. When I signed up for the prayer team at my church, we were cautioned about praying with someone of the opposite sex one-on-one, and to grab someone else or grab a pastor to pray with us. When I was volunteering as a youth assistant, I would talk with both guys and girls, and if a girl came up to me and wanted to talk to me about something, wanted advice on whatever, I had to kind of like the corner of the room if it was more personal. But we were always within eyesight of multiple people and in the main common room with others where others were around. I also, as a leader within the group, even though I was still under 18, I didn't put myself in a position where I was trying to get girls to talk with me about stuff or sit with them, etc. This ended up being a saving grace. When a member of my youth group who was upset at my popularity, because Allotheosaurus Rex was super popular, began spreading rumors. These rumors, which I didn't find the details out until a few years later, was that I was locking girls in my car and telling them until they told me a prayer request that they had that I wouldn't let them out. I was pulling girls into rooms hidden away and asking to pray with them, and that at times while praying I would grab their breasts and grope them. All of these are absolutely false and completely contrary to my character and who I am as a person or dinosaur. However, the rumors spread, the gossip continued, and it got to the point where girls were afraid to be around me and guys were giving me dirty looks. I, not knowing what the rumors were, because no one would tell me, asked my parents to watch me and go with me everywhere I went, except the bathroom, of course, so they could testify my defense against new possible accusations. The youth pastors were so disgusted by the accusations that they wouldn't even meet with me or share what had been shared with them because they wanted to protect the girls who told this guy, which after pressured he admitted didn't exist. Because if, let's say I only had groped one girl, well, if they said that it's groped a girl, then I would know, who it was. Anyway, I finally got a meeting with the youth pastors. They told me some details, mainly only the one about like pulling them into rooms and asking them to, for prayer and whatnot. I was able to remind them of the rules I follow, and I remember so clearly the wife of the youth pastor said, "You know what, now that I think of it, you never even really sit beside girls, much less flirt in a way that would make me think you would do any of that kind of stuff. And every time I've seen you pray or talk with a girl, you're always out in the open." My adherence to my rules was able to somewhat salvage my reputation and ministry at a church. I later on left the church within a couple months because rumors had done too much damage for me to be able to do anything. And in this climate where accusations can end careers and no sort of validation seems to be done to authenticate the claims before decisions were made, it would be extremely foolish for men not to attempt a Pence-style rule, not to attempt to adopt a rule like Billy Graham. Now, I don't know that we need to go to the extreme where, like, if we're in an elevator, I can't be in an elevator with, a girl or whatever. And I think a lot of times we can go away with that kind of stuff because there are video cameras in elevators. We should be able to, anyway, that's a whole side issue. I don't think we should adopt these things for the reasons that Miss Beatty mentioned, because I don't think that those are really accurate. But instead, if we're going to adopt these things, especially for us men, we need to do it for the reasons my professors listed and teachers taught me. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. I haven't been on my YouTube for a while. My apologies. I'll get back to you. But leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. I'd love to know why you follow the rules. Like, what are some of the rules that you do? Let's have a conversation. It'll be exciting. Anyway, I know this is a pretty long one, but it's a more of a response one. You can follow me on Twitter at Theosaurus Rex. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/TheosaurusRex. Got all my links down the bottom. And yeah, we're good here. You guys have a wonderful day, and I look to see you guys in the future.